Okay, at times this has been noticed that people end up confusing active and passive and direct and indirect. Always remember, in active and passive, we never change the tense. However, the exact opposite is going to happen whenever we people are discussing reported speech. Hence, we need to be adept with our tenses. It's not like you can convert it to just any tense whatsoever. Okay. So now we'll be looking at the rules and regulations for reported speech. Is the screen visible to you guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes? Right. Great. Very simple sentences have been given in front of us. Okay. And we'll be noticing how this change is particularly taking place. Now, few things that we need to remember. There, apart from the fact that, okay, yes, there is direct and indirect speech, we also need to remember what is the reporting verb. Now, let's look at these sentences. We can see that that has been included in all of these examples. Yes, or he said, she said, has been again and again repeated. So what is happening whenever you are converting a direct speech into an indirect speech statement? What is happening? A subject will be introduced and then a verb will be put. So please remember this thing, that the tense of the reporting verb is never changed. And what is the tense of the reporting verb here? Said being the reporting verb. Yes. Apart from Jagrati, anybody can answer this. What is the tense
Sorry,
in which?
ma'am. So,
Yes.
ma'am, I missed your question. Can you please repeat?
The question is, for example, here you can see the first statement. Let's look at the very first statement. I like oranges. He said that he liked oranges. Here we see that a new subject has been introduced. He, yes. Then there is a verb that has been used. Said. Yes. If we notice, in all the statements that are right now converted here, he said, she said is being repeated. This verb is known as the reporting verb. This verb can change also, like instead of said, it could be told, questioned, anything else, depending upon the sentiment of the sentence or the context of the sentence. This verb is known as the reporting verb because what is happening? A sentence change is happening because the incident is being reported. Okay, so this is known as the reporting verb. Always remember that the tense of the reporting verb, no matter in which tense your rest of the dialogue is written, the tense of the reporting verb is never changed. What is the tense of this reporting verb? Three, four people have answered this.
Past.
Yes, correct. Simple past. So always remember this thing, that your reporting verb will be written in the tense of simple past. Okay. After that, the tense that really matters to us is the tense of the dialogue, or in which the direct speech has been said. That is the main part that gets converted, not the reporting verb. The reporting verb will always be in simple past tense. All right. Now, what is the role that playing here in this sentence itself? Let's parse it. He said that. What part of speech is that behaving as? And this question is specifically for all those who have attended the session for parts of speech and interchange of parts of speech. Can anybody tell me what is the part of speech for that?
Conjunction.
Correct. Very good. It is behaving as a conjunction. Got it? So now that is usually the conjunction that is used whenever we are converting the sentence into reported speech. Now, the only crucial thing we need to remember is that what is the tense to which the rest of the dialogue is going to get converted. That is the important part. Okay. So very quickly, let's take a look. The sentence is written in simple past, in simple present. I like oranges. The reported speech sentence is, he said that he liked oranges. To which tense did the sentence jump to?
Simple past.
Simple past.
Simple past, correct. I am swimming. She said that she was swimming.
Past continuous.
Yes, past continuous. I have seen the movie. He said that he had seen the movie.
Past perfect.
Past perfect.
Past perfect. I forgot to bring my lunch. She said that she forgot her lunch, or she said that she had forgotten her lunch.
Past perfect.
Simple past has turned to yes.
Past participle. Perfect.
What has just a second, let me see. Present perfect. Present perfect, he had seen, has turned to past perfect. In the simple past also, past perfect. Okay, past continuous. I was looking for the train station.
मैम सब पास्ट परफेक्ट में टर्न होंगे क्या कन्वर्ट होंगे
नहीं. प्रेजेंट परफेक्ट और सिंपल पास्ट को भी हटाओ, पास्ट कंटिन्यूअस वाले का बताओ.
Past perfect continuous.
पास्ट परफेक्ट में कन्वर्ट
Yes, past continuous turns to
Past
past perfect continuous.
continuous
Past perfect converted to
It remains past perfect.
yes. There is no change in past perfect. Simple future.
Future perfect.
Future perfect.
Is this future perfect? How do we convert a sentence into future perfect?
Will have verb.
Exactly. There is no will have third person. What is happening the moment we have reached the future tense?
This is simple past.
No. Because agar simple past hota, so then third form of the verb wouldn't have come. This is present conditional. Would. Could. How many of you attended the sessions for conditionals? We had a discussion about it. Present conditional, past conditional. Yes? This is that. Look at simple future, future continuous, future perfect. What is future perfect turning into? Again, conditional, present conditional, present perfect continuous. Has converted to
Past perfect continuous.
Past perfect continuous.
past perfect continuous. Very good. Past perfect continuous.
Past perfect continuous.
Remains the same.
Same.
Future perfect continuous.
Remains the same.
Remains the same. So what is happening here? What happened in all of these sentences? In 2, we saw that the same thing was happening. Past perfect, past perfect. So what happened? What exactly are we doing? Whenever we are reporting any particular sentence, the tense always jumps back 1 tense. Okay? That's why simple present very simply just turned to past simple tense. Okay? So the main tense, okay, that is not changing. Simple remains simple. Continuous remains continuous. However, present is turning into past. Why is that happening? Yes, guys. Because when you're reporting something, that means it is already done. As simple as that. Yes, that is when it turns into reported speech or indirect speech. Because somebody has said something in that moment. Now that thing has already happened. That is why when you're converting your sentences into a reported speech sentence or an indirect speech, what is happening is we will go back 1 tense. So your core tense is going to change. The time lapse is going to happen. However, the type of tense in which the sentence was written, it remains intact. Okay, remember this thing. Simple stays simple, continuous stays continuous, perfect stays perfect. However, there is a jump. In the first 3 examples, we can see present is converting into past. Okay, because the action has already taken place. Now, the 2 things where the answer remains the same. Okay. What are the 2 tenses where our sentence ended up being in past perfect? Yes.
Past perfect and simple past.
Simple past, past perfect, and present perfect as well.
Yes, present perfect.
3 tenses. Present perfect, simple past, and past perfect. Now, past perfect is fine. We'll come to that later. Why is this happening that in simple past or in present perfect, both, the sentence is getting converted to past perfect? Now, in past perfect, in present perfect, it makes sense because I already told you that the basic logic behind converting a sentence or making it jump is simply that the sentence stays in the perfect tense. However, time lapse will happen. Since the action has already taken place, it's going to be past perfect when it is being reported. But when it comes to simple past, that is not the case. Simple past completely switches and becomes past perfect. Why did that happen? And this question is for all those who attended the classes for tenses. Because when we were discussing tenses, we had a discussion on the perfect tense. What is the reason behind it? Simple past taking a jump to past perfect. Anybody? Take any random guesses.
Since the original statement is already in past, so that's why it when reporting it has to shift from the first person to third person. Is that why?
Almost there. Yes, correct. But then whenever we are reporting something there, any sentence out of these will be in third person. First person converting to third person is the whole concept of reported speech. So that is not the reason. The reason is whenever we are talking about tenses and we draw a timeline, which tense will you people put as, let's say, at the farthest left? You have 12 tenses with you. Which tense, I'll say, is the one from where we can say the entire timeline for tenses begin?
Past perfect.
Exactly, past perfect. So past perfect is also known as the past of the past. Okay, if you're narrating an incident, the very first incident that might have happened after which all of the other things would happen, that is usually written down in past perfect. So that is why when a sentence is written in simple past and it has to be converted into a reported speech sentence, it jumps from being simple past to past perfect, because past perfect is past ka bhi past. It is the, I'll say, the tense that is going to deal with the most obsolete information possible. Okay, so that is why simple past is going to make that jump. So present perfect also turns to past perfect. Simple past also turns to past perfect. Got it? And then when we come to past perfect, what is happening?
The original statement is already in the extreme of the past, so no conversion.
Exactly. So there will be no conversion. Past perfect remains as it is. So if you ever come across any sentence that already is in this tense, even when it is being reported, there will be no change whatsoever. Now we come to the future tenses. Now, when we are dealing with past tense and everything, we saw that, okay, yes, it just very comfortably made a transition. When we came to the future tense, what is happening? Why is the future tense breaking away from the pattern? Yes, Parth? Others? Erica? Why is the conditional tense coming in? Anshika?
Because of uncertainty.
Because of uncertainty? Okay, yes, very good. See, the basic concept of reported speech is when can you report a particular incident? When it has already taken place. Hence, for present and past tenses, it's pretty easy to create a reported speech sentence. However, that is not the case with the future tense. Because future tense is already talking about something that has not taken place. So just in case you have to convert it into a reported speech sentence, please remember this, that now the logic of jumping back when tense does not follow, because something that is in the future has not yet happened. So we cannot really jump down one tense. And secondly, because something is being conveyed about future, like she said, there is uncertainty. So it can only be a sentence that is conveying predictability. Now, what are the kind of sentences that deal with predictability? Conditionals. So whenever you're dealing with any sentence that belongs to the future tense, is in direct speech and has to be converted into a reported speech sentence, what will happen? The conditionals are going to come in. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What are the tenses that are not undergoing any change?
Past perfect and
Past perfect. Oh,
Past perfect and
present perfect
Present
continuous.
perfect continuous.
future.
present perfect continuous में तो नहीं जा रहा है. Present perfect continuous भी change हो रहा है past perfect continuous में.
Future perfect.
नहीं. The past perfect stays past perfect. There is no change. And past perfect continuous also stays past perfect continuous. There is no change for these two, because the perfect tense, when it comes to the past, is already dealing with a very obsolete event. It is in the extreme past, both of these tenses. Hence, there will be no change whatsoever when you're dealing with past perfect and past perfect continuous, both. And which is the tense which actually cannot really be converted into any reported speech whatsoever?
Future perfect continuous.
Yes. I just rolled the screen simply to give you people a hint. Yes. So when we are dealing with future perfect continuous, what will happen? This is one tense that is never going to be converted into any tense, not because it is already reported or something. It stays the same because as such, the only thing here you can do is that you introduce a third person and you write it as it is. As such, there is no reported speech sentence for future perfect continuous, because this entire thing is already a conditional thing. We don't know even if it's going to happen or not. Complete supposition. That's why, as such, no changes. The only thing you do is you can add a third person thing, remove the double quotes, and just write it in continuum. All right. So, have we understood how we have to jump the tenses when it comes to reported speech? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Please remember the tenses by heart. Tenses are very crucial because when it comes to TISSNET, you end up getting some question, you might get it from voice or reported speech or tenses itself. But this entire jumping, what tense, how it's supposed to be written, and what it gets converted into is very important, because at least one or two questions are directly asked from the concept of tenses. And these two concepts of voice and reported speech are two very important components of how tenses need to be dealt with. You are not simply going to get a very simple sentence in your exam that, okay, yes, this sentence is in this tense, now please write it down. No, you might end up getting a let's say a particular sentence will be divided into 2 to 3 parts. Either you can get it in error, or you might get it in an MCQ where half of the sentence will be written. Now it's up to you. You need to understand whether the sentence is in active or passive voice, whether it's direct or indirect, whether it's conditional, and then remember how the combination of the tenses work. Okay, so that's why make sure that you are completely perfect with your tenses. Okay, some other basic changes are also need to be made whenever we are converting our sentences into indirect speech. Okay, that includes changes in modal verbs. What are modal verbs? Erica? Pranjal? Priyanka?
Ma'am, will or should or ये सब.
Okay, will, should, ठीक है. क्या होते हैं पर ये? What is the definition of modal verbs? वैष्णवी?
मैम किसी भी चीज की पॉसिबिलिटी हो या कुछ भी.
Okay, okay. Vaishnavi?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Can you tell me?
Modal verbs usually indicate that something is necessary, like the words should, must, or
ये तो
that
selected
it,
modal verbs हैं जो यहाँ पे मैंने अभी लिखे हुए हैं.
हाँ,
हाँ. What is the definition of a modal verb?
they are helping verbs.
Yes, very good. They are helping verbs. What do? Modal verbs basically just add up a layer, a meaning to the sentence. They are not the main verbs. They are just indicating that something could be a suggestion, could be an advice, or they try to bring in the nuance of, let's say, probability. Because the moment we start using could, might, we are basically trying to convey probability. So they try to convey suggestions, they try to convey moods, they try to convey probability in a particular sentence. Now, there are certain changes that happen. Okay. Now, would, should, could, might, and ought, they do not change. Why is that happening? Ought, should, would, could, might. They will never change. If that is there in your direct speech, you are never going to change it. Why are they not changing?
They act as the conditional.
Yes, they act as a conditional, or basically they are conditional tenses themselves. Yes, we call them as the, if you study it, we say that these are present conditionals. Yes, and the moment they end up using other verbs together in combination, it can turn into, let's say, past conditionals, but they themselves are conditional tenses. So they will never change. Will changes to what? If a sentence has will, it will change to what when it is turned into a reported speech?
Would.
Would. Can? Could. And may?
Might.
Yes, dono. It can change to might also. You can change it to should also. Depends entirely on the meaning that you're trying to convey. All right. And must. It's given on the screen. Had to.
Ought.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, had to. You can use ought, but then ought ends up being I'll say more extreme. Ought is usually used whenever we are trying to force compulsion. So must usually changes to had to. Okay, or it can also stay as it is. Okay, there is no compulsion. Okay, completely depends upon the degree that we are trying to convey. So must is one word that can come with layers. Completely depends on what sense we are trying to convert it. Now we come to situations. We have already understood that, okay, yes, one thing we have to remember is there is a tense jump that takes place whenever we are dealing with reported speech. Now we have to focus on situations. Now, when I had asked this question to Jagrati, Jagrati had very quickly rectified and converted now to then. Yes. Now, why is this happening? Because we are dealing with time lapse. Yes, there is a switch that is taking place. Always remember this thing that if any of these situational words are there, they need to be converted into third person. Secondly, they need to jump back one tense themselves. Okay, so very quickly we are going to go through the list of these. Okay, there are three Vaishnavis. Vaishnavi Karanwal.
Good evening.
Good evening. Now, very quickly, dear, will you please read out the list of situations and the change that is going to take place the moment they are changed to reported speech?
Ma'am, this is changed to that,
Hmm.
these to those, last week to the previous week, here to there, now to then, today to that day, yesterday
Also, if
to.
somebody wants, they can screenshot this and remember it, because this change mandatorily needs to take place. If this change does not happen, your sentence ends up being grammatically wrong.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Would it be possible for you to share this document on the group?
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll convert it into a document. I'll add the pointers and I'll share it. Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right. Yes, continue.
Ma'am, yesterday to the day before the previous day,
Hmm.
tomorrow to the next day or the coming day, last week to the week before slash the previous week, last month to the month before or the previous month, next month, inverted commas ago, the coming month or the following month before.
Ago turns to before. Next month turns to the coming month, and ago converts to before. Okay. Now this happened. Great. We have understood two things: how the tenses need to switch, how if a timeline has been mentioned, that is going to switch. All right. But supposedly my sentence is, I'll say a sentence and tell me how it would be converted into reported speech. Adarsh says, I will never come back. Yes. Very simple. Adarsh says, I will never come back. Okay. Some people have answered. Adarsh said that he would never come back. Yes, very good. Now, my question is, can I say, Adarsh says that he will never come back? Will it be correct or incorrect?
Ma'am, I feel that this sentence sounds like he always says that, and that is not the point of the sentence, so I feel that it might be wrong.
Okay, all right. Others?
It sounds correct.
It sounds correct. Okay. Now, here comes in another thing that we have to remember. We were talking about the reporting verb. Yes. Now, the reporting verb usually addresses the timeline that we are trying to denote. So now, I guess it was Jagrati who said that, ma'am, it feels like this is being, this is something he's saying always. Yes, was it you, Jagrati? Or it was someone
Yes,
else?
ma'am, it was me.
Yeah, okay. So what is happening? Two senses were able, we were able to come up with two different meanings of the same thing. Okay. Now, Adarsh said he would never come back. This is also correct. And Adarsh says that he will never come back. This is also correct. The only difference is the difference in the meaning. Okay. And this is where comes in the concept of our reporting verb, which can at times exceptionally be in the present tense. Okay. So always remember this thing. What are you trying to turn your reported verb into? Who are you reporting to? Okay. Your reporting verb necessarily does not have to be in the past tense. Usually, let's say 80 to 90% of the times our reported speech sentences are in the past because we are telling something after it has happened. So logically, we follow that path. However, there are times when this might not be the case. So, for example, if that was the sense I wanted to convey, the one that Jagrati said, that it feels as if, he is usually saying this thing, or this is something which is habitual with him, or it has always been said by him. Supposedly, my sense is that he is saying this at the moment. Now, we don't know where this goes. I could turn my reporting verb into the present. Okay. And in that case, what will happen? My reporting verb changes to the present tense. And because of that, what is happening? The moment my reporting verb changed to the present tense, others says that he will never come back. Did the tense of my dialogue change?
No.
No, that will not happen. Or, for example, supposedly we are having some conversation and I tell you to ask for this permission, let's go out somewhere or whatever, and you end up saying to me that you tell me that, oh no, I know my father is going to say no. My father will say you cannot go. Now if I convert this into reported speech, can I say my father will say that I cannot go? Is this the correct conversion of his direct speech?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Now, again, what happened? Did the tense of my dialogue change? No. Only the person changed. Yes. The dialogue was in second person. You cannot go. And then I converted it to first person, that I know what my father is going to say. My father will say that I cannot go. So only my addressal of person changed, but my tense did not change. So remember this thing, in reported speech, your tenses of your dialogues only change when your reported verb is in the past tense. If your reported verb ends up being in the present or in the future tense, for example, in this exception, okay, these are exceptions that we are talking about. Yes. So what will happen if your reported verb is not, your reporting verb is not in the past tense, then your sentence, the tenses of your dialogues are never going to change. They are going to remain intact. The only thing that changes is the addressal of the person. Is it clear? The exception? Okay. Another example, or rather a question. If I say, okay, fine. The sentence is, the teacher said, and then in inverted commas, let's say, absence makes the heart grow fonder. The teacher said, absence makes the heart grow fonder. Now, convert it into indirect speech. What will the sentence be? Yes, anyone? It's pin drop silence. Come on, very simple. The teacher said, and then your inverted commas open. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. Convert this into an indirect speech sentence.
The sentence was not clear. Could you please repeat?
Okay, I'll type it down once for you people. Sorry. The teacher said, absence makes the heart grow fonder. Convert it into an indirect speech statement.
The teacher said that absence makes the heart grow fonder.
The teacher says that, or the teacher said that?
Said that.
Okay. Okay, somebody has answered. The teacher had said that absence makes the heart grow fonder. Okay. Any other variants? Okay. Very simply, the teacher said that absence makes the heart grow fonder. Correct. So, what will happen? You will do nothing, because what is happening in this particular example? We are this particular reported speech sentence is trying to express a universal truth, okay, or a saying, okay. So in this case, simply you put in that and you keep it as it is, okay. There will be no change whatsoever. And somebody had said, the teacher had said. Always remember, we are not changing this part of the sentence. This part is known as your reporting verb part. So in the reporting verb part, said, it will remain as it is. This is just indicative to us that the sentence is going to be in the past. It will be reported in the past tense. So the main change that happens is after that. Don't get confused between the two. This is the part we change. Before that, whatever it is, there are only three ways in which the reporting verb can exist: in the past, in the present, or in the future. If your reporting verb is in the present or the future, your tense of the sentence does not change. If here it's written in past tense, then only will any other changes that we discussed priorly are going to follow in the rest of the sentence. Okay? All right. One more situation. Now, okay. She said, Parth fell while he was crossing the road. Convert this into reported speech. You can also send your answer directly as a DM in the chat box. If not, use the mic. Yes, very quickly.
She said that Parth had fallen while he had been crossing the road. Is it?
Okay. Okay, all right. Let's wait for others also to answer.
Change me back.
Priyanka, you're not audible, dear. Can you please use the chat box? He said that Parth had fallen when, okay. Yes, others? Okay. He said that Parth, when he had, okay. I am receiving various answers. Okay, okay. All right. So now I have received mixed responses here. Now what is happening? There are 3 different tenses being used. We need to remember this thing, like I told you. This part of your sentence remains the same because it is telling us that your reported speech sentence is going to be reported in the past. Said is already telling us that it is simple past, it will not change, it remains the same. That. Now, there are 2 tenses that are coming together. Parth fell while he was crossing the road. So past continuous and simple past. Yes. So now what will we do? What is the main verb here in this particular part? I'm just talking about Parth fell while he was crossing the road. Remove the rest of it. Just look at the dialogue. Our main verb here is fell. Yes. Just isolate the dialogue in its own self. Your sentence, yes, the subject becomes Parth and your main verb ends up being fell. Now, in all the responses that I received, everybody, like majority of you ended up writing Parth fell and then some of the changes happened in the next part. That will not happen. So, because your main clause here is Parth fell. So, what will it turn to? Parth had fallen. Parth fell is simple past. We had already discussed. Simple past jumps back 1 tense. It becomes past perfect. Parth had fallen. The rest of your sentence will remain intact. What does this tell us? Okay, everybody, please take a look at this because there was a permutation and combination of tenses that happened in the responses. Just in case you're encountering any sentence, any dialogue that has multiple tenses in it, okay, what will happen? You just isolate your dialogue, look at the very first verb, the very first subject verb agreement that is happening. That ends up being your main clause. So always remember, when dealing with reported speech, your main clause is going to jump back. That's it. Rest of your sentence is going to remain intact. Okay. Got it? Exception. All right. Next one. I'm just telling you some exceptional cases where you have to be very vigilant. Okay. Next one. Now, supposedly, my sentence is Erica says, no, Erica said, okay. Ma'am keeps complaining about the students all the time. Convert this into a reported speech sentence.
Erika said that ma'am keeps complaining about the students all the time.
All right. Others?
Erika said that ma'am kept on complaining about the students all the time.
Okay. Now, what is the sentence trying to convey? Is it, let's say, describing a state of affairs? Look at the sentence. Ma'am keeps complaining about the students all the time. Is the condition changing while your sentence, while you're reporting this particular state of affairs? The ma'am is still complaining, right? Erica said this particular statement, correct? But she said that that is one thing. But is this particular situation changing
No.
while the sentence is being reported? No, right? So please remember this thing as well. You might end up encountering particular sentences or scenarios in direct speech where what is happening? The sentence ends up explaining, it is describing you the situation, okay, or a particular, I'll say, scenario or circumstance that might still exist while you're reporting the sentence. In that case, what will happen? Nothing. You will not change the sentence whatsoever. You will just write it down simply like this. Your tense is not going to change. It ends up becoming an exceptional statement because there is context. So while, yes, some of you did send me correct statements, you rightly switched the tense. This happens to be an exception, okay? Because the state of affairs or the circumstances are not changing while you're reporting your sentence. So in that case, your sentence remains intact. Okay, so now we have understood what all things we need to remember. Tenses need to be switched. We also have to remember if a timeline is being talked about, we just went through a whole list, how we have to switch that. Any other component we need to change? Another very important part whenever you're converting a sentence into reported speech is the pronouns of the direct speech. Yes, they will mandatorily be changed. Yes, because what we are dealing with, who said what about whom, to whom, that's why, you know, you is turning into me, he will turn into him. So like that, always remember your subjective case will jump to the objective case. Yes, so remember the change of pronouns. Yes, now most of these sentences that we dealt with, okay, very simply what happened, we wrote he said that, she said that, okay, but then there are other nuances as well. Sometimes your sentences can be exclamations. Okay, for example, you enter somebody's house and you said, "What a beautiful house you have." Or let us say people applauded somebody. Somebody was giving the presentation, she concluded, and supposedly your professor clapped and applauded you and said something. Let's say there is a question. Somebody is asking a question, or somebody is saying a statement. Do in every scenario we'll just use said, or can other reporting verbs be used?
Said can be converted to told depending on the context.
Yes, all right. Now again, told is something that we probably use to convey a statement. Yes, she told me that she would come tomorrow, something like that. Okay, because you're giving out a statement, you're giving out an information. But what if you are reporting a question? For example, if your sentence is very basic, it's given, he said, "Where is the letter?"
It will become he asked while reporting.
He asked, correct. What else?
Where the report is.
Yeah, he asked, he inquired, yes. Uh, he confirmed, if he's trying to just double check. Okay, whatever the sentence is, whatever the situation is, you have the liberty to change your reporting verb based on the context. If you feel that yes, this sentence requires more nuance, what you will do is you will convert your reporting verb to one of the questioning sentences. Also, remember this thing, whenever you're dealing with questions, I've written here, for WH questions, use the WH word. What does that mean? What are the WH words we need to remember? Who, what, which, when. Okay. So, for example, whenever you're converting a sentence, if your question is starting with a WH word, what, which, who, when, simply they will remain there itself. All you will do is you will change your reporting verb and the rest of the sentence will remain the same. However, supposedly there is a yes or no question. What is a yes or no question? An objective question. For example, do you know French? So what will happen? This is a yes or no question because the other person might answer yes or no. There is no subjectivity whatsoever. So what will you do? In that situation, you will use if or whether. Okay. For example, I asked you, do you know French? You can say, Ashita Ma'am asked me if I knew French. Okay. Or whether I knew French. Okay. You will not use that. You will use if or whether when it comes to a yes or no question. That is the correct change. Okay. Now, supposedly, I give you an order that bring me the class register. How would you convert it into an indirect speech? Also, what kind of a sentence is this? Bring me the class register. What type of sentence is it?
Assertive.
Assertive, okay. Can I say that it is an imperative sentence? Yes. Assertive
Yes,
is
ma'am.
fine. Yes, it's an imperative sentence. Why? Because there is no subject verb object agreement going on. Directly the command is coming at you straight away. Now, how would you convert it? Bring me the class register. Okay, so Ashita Ma'am said, open quotes, bring me the class register. Convert it into an indirect speech sentence very quickly and put it in the chat box for all those who can't use the microphone. Yes. I'm putting down 2 dialogues for you people. Hmm. These are the 2 sentences. One is a sentence, one is a question. Okay, you can use Ashita Ma'am as the subject. Now convert this into a reported speech sentence very quickly. Now, when it comes to an imperative sentence, what will happen? You can, first of all, you have the liberty to use whatever reporting verb you'd like to use. For example, you can consider it a command, maybe. Yes. So let's say, okay, Jagrati has sent a response. Vaishnavi too. Okay, Ashita Ma'am. Ashita Ma'am asked for the class register to be brought to her. Okay. Ashita Ma'am ordered me to bring her the class register. Okay. All right. Now, Jagrati's response, very correct. Ashita Ma'am ordered me to bring her the class register. Okay. So not much has changed. The reporting verb changed. She remains the same because the sentence is already in objective case here. Yes. And the sentence remains the same. Now, Vaishnavi, you have made too many changes in the sentence. I won't say it is entirely wrong, but then here what ended up happening? Active, passive, and reported got mixed. Look at the sentence. Object को हमें subject नहीं बनाना. In this sentence, the class register stays the object. Make sure in your conversion also, your object stays the object. Okay, so यहाँ पे it became a mixture of active and passive and reported. Got it? So you can simply say, Ashita Ma'am asked me to bring the class register. That's it. Okay? Or to bring her the class register. That's it. You will not change the object into the subject. Okay? Next one. Can you close the door before you leave? So here, Ashita Ma'am asked me to close the door before I left. Very good. Or Ashita Ma'am asked me if I could close the door before I left. Okay, very good. Can I also say, can we also use, let's say, the word requested? Yes. Ashita Ma'am requested me to close the door before I left. Ashita Ma'am asked me whether I can close the door before I leave. Okay, not I can, you will say could. Okay, that will look better because somewhere I'm sort of putting up a request. So can will convert to could. Ashita Ma'am asked me whether I could close the door before I left. Not before I leave. Your tense will change because you're reporting it. Okay. So understood what is happening? Too many things. Okay. Tense will change. You have the liberty to change your reporting verb as well. But remember, never change the subject verb object order of the sentence. Got it? So necessarily your reporting verb does not have to be said or told. Depending upon your context, there are many verbs. Let's say ordered, commanded, command, respond, tell, advise, suggest, pray, inform, state, announce, propose. Okay, he proposed the idea that, something like that. Declare, what else? Maintain, stated, he stated that, state. Okay, so there are a lot of verbs that are assigned for statements, for questioning, for exclamations. Okay, so based on your scenario, any verb can be converted into a reporting verb to give more context to your sentence. Is it clear? These are all the rules that you need to know for converting your sentences into reported speech. That's it. First, first determining your reporting verb. Are you reporting it in the past or the present or the future? If it's the present or the future, no change in your dialogues as it is. However, if the reporting verb is in the past, then switches will be made. What will happen? Your tenses are going to jump back one tense. Okay. But the past perfect and the past perfect continuous are not changing. They remain the same. Why? Because they are already at the extreme of the tenses of the past. So they do not change. Future perfect tense, future perfect continuous again will not change because it is a highly hypothetical situation. We don't know for sure whether it's going to happen or not. So no change there. Okay. Future tenses turn to conditionals because they are hypothetical situations. Present switches to past. Okay. Other two things or components that need to be taken care of is whenever you are dealing with any situational or position based sentence words, for example, this, here, now, thus, today, tomorrow, or anything related to timelines, switch them back exactly one tense. Okay. And apart from that, your pronouns are going to turn from subjective to objective. That's it. Understood? Reported speech completely.
Yes,
One more
ma'am.
thing. Multiple tenses in your sentence. Remember, your main clause is the only one that needs to be converted. Rest of your sentence remains the same. Got it? That's it. Okay. Thank you so much. And I hope everybody else who was left, they have joined that informal WhatsApp group through the invite. Yes, thank you so much. I'll see you in the next class. Okay, there is a doubt. Ma'am, can that be omitted in the sentence or will it be grammatically incorrect for spoken English? In spoken English, it's fine. Because see, spoken English is very different. However, when you're writing it down grammatically, that needs to be there because it functions as a connector. You're connecting two things. In spoken English, we usually skip that because the sentence remains self-explanatory. But when you're writing it down grammatically, that needs to be there because it is going to bridge the entire sentence. Okay. Not necessarily, again, depending on the question also, if it's imperative, if it's a question or something like that, in those situations, we are not using that. We are completely removing it altogether. So completely makes sense. But wherever we are dealing with statements or we are dealing with declarations, it should be there. When will I be scheduling the classes for the ones who join late? Don't worry, dear. There are some basic grammatical topics. So the roster goes like that. First, I'm going to finish off with some of the key grammatical topics. Then I'll again restart with these particular topics. So don't worry. Okay. It will happen after a while though, because right now some other topics are left. So once the grammatical topics are done, then I'll come back to it. Apart from that, then we have the practice sessions where we directly solve questions and all. Okay, all right. Thank you so much. I'm going to end the class. I'll see you in the next class.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.